Hey guys, welcome back to More Reader. Today I'm going to be sharing my thoughts on Loveboat Taipai. This book follows Ever Wong, who is very much so the epitome of that saying, a rock stuck in a hard place. She has these dreams that she wants to chase of being a dancer, but her parents who immigrated to America believe that their daughter owes them to chase after the dream that they have set for her. This causes a very complicated relationship to develop between the two. In a last straw effort to get Ever to follow the plan that they have for her, they end up shipping her off to Taiwan for her to learn Mandarin over the summer in hopes that maybe this will get her to follow the dreams that they have for her. But what they don't know about the summer school is the fact that it's a place where people who are in similar situations to Ever love to go to because they get to experience freedom. Freedom! And that's exactly what Ever does. She gets to experience freedom for the first time. She creates this checklist of rules that her parents have set for her throughout her life, and she goes down that list and breaks each one. For our main character Ever, this is a summer full of freedom and finding herself. The recipe for the book contains poetic writing, travel, dance, adventure, education, rebellion, drama, family, and friendship. I personally loved the book. It captured my attention from beginning to end. Like the second I started reading it, I just could not put that book down. Like, heck no, techno, don't talk to me right now. I am reading Loveboat Taipai. I just got so caught up in all the drama and I wanted to see how things ended up resolved. I recognized the fact that it's not going to be a book for everyone, and it's already got quite a bit of polarizing reviews. People either love it or hate it with all that they've got. I ended up in the Loveboat. I do want to talk about the negative reviews because a lot of the points that are brought up are valid, but I will talk about that later on in the video because the book ain't perfect and we gotta talk about that. But let's be real, what book is perfect? Well, Six of Crows. But that's a whole other story. Literally. After reading the book, I question whether it's YA or not. It's marketed YA, but I would say it's borderline new adult. It's like a YA book knocking on the door of a new adult book, begging to be let in. It just deals with topics that I feel like are more so in the new adult lane. But it does read like a YA book, and the characters are straight out of high school. They've just graduated, so they're kind of in that transition period from high school to college. So if you're looking for books that are in that middle lane from YA to new adult, maybe check this one out. There are bits of things that happen in this book that feel unhinged and that you just feel like the characters would never ever get away with in real life, but that's why it's fiction. I really liked the writing style, but I also recognize the fact that it's kind of like ferociously flowery. There are quite a few eye-roll worthy flowery details early on. For example, this is her describing a letter that she received, like a full-colored dream breaking into a gray reality of the lavender swish of tulle skirts, satin rose ribbons unfurling, the weightlessness of leaps towards a sapphire sky. Like literally, that's how she described a letter. So yeah, flowery. I'm guessing if you're not into that style of writing, this might not be your vibe. But thankfully, it's a style I fancy. Fancy you. I hope some of you get that reference. In terms of the plot, it's like a volcano eruption of drama. Drama here, drama there, drama over there, which is something I love in books. I'm a big fan of trashy reality TV, and I'm not saying this book is trashy, like nope. It has a lot more depth to it than a lot of reality TV out there, but a lot of the drama did remind me of some trashy reality TV shows I've seen. There's friendship betrayals, there's messy relationships, there's loads of rule breaking, and those are reminiscent of a lot of the reality TV shows that I've seen. There's a lot of friction within Ever's family because her parents do expect her to kind of like bend over backwards to achieve the future that they want for her, instead of allowing her to make up her own dreams, which is how she ended up landing in Taiwan in the first place. They want her to take it as an opportunity to learn and grow, and also for her to be inspired to chase after the dream that they have for her. Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen, Mom and Dad. That's a big reason as to why she ends up dreading going on this trip. When you first hear that she's dreading getting to travel, it's like, okay, first world problems, hello. But you've got to kind of recognize the full scope of the situation. When she gets there though and begins meeting people, it exposes her to new things that she's never gotten the chance to experience before. And the big rebellious streak spikes up inside of her, and she low-key lets herself go wild. Not even low-key, high-key. Ever ends up facing shame because of different decisions that she's making, and it's because of these experiences that she's had growing up with her parents. She's trying to find herself, but she always has these ideals running in the back of her mind in trying to do so. I loved seeing the nice sisterly bond between her and her sister, when one can sense when the other is having issues with the parent and the other can swoop in and help the other one out. That's a solid sisterhood if you ask me. When you get the feeling that the other one needs help and you're there in a heartbeat. Dun dun! There is that enemies to lovers trope present, a trope that could pop up in every book ever and I wouldn't be mad at it. In fact, I'd be glad about it. The trope is worked into the book nicely because it has a bit of a twist on it. Love a good trope twist. There's like a one-sided extended history element that's a player in the game, which makes sense if you've read it. In terms of Ever as a character, she is a mess, but I feel like there's good reason for that because she spent her whole life obeying her parents. So the second she gets one taste of freedom, she's like, let's get wild. She rips off that band-aid real quick and runs for the hills. But with that comes a lot of guilt, which I've already kind of touched on, but she feels a lot of shame for experiences that she should not feel shame for. But it's because of that overbearing family structure in her life. She spent her whole life having her parents say things like, you can't do this, you can't do that. So a majority of the time she'll leave an experience feeling guilty about it, or feeling like she isn't allowed to look back on that experience with a joyful feeling. I do feel like she grows by the end of the book, but she still has a lot of room for growth, specifically in how she handles relationships and friendships. There is room for improvement there. Speaking of room for improvement, let's talk about the book's issues. While I loved the book personally, I do recognize that it has flaws. However, I do find it interesting that people rip this book, a book by a person of color, to shreds because it has things like cheating, girl hate, which I feel like ended up being resolved anyway, and an assortment of other messy things. It's been a while since I've read the book now, so I'm not recalling every little detail. But on the flip side, people will hype up books like Anna and the French Kiss, Gossip Girl, or Pretty Little Liars, which arguably have the same issues. Obviously, it's not okay either way to have those things in the book. I just find it interesting that books like this come out and it's like, let's tear it apart. But then books like Anna and the French Kiss, which has cheating in it, people don't even blink an eye at it. I'm not trying to be woke on a Monday, but it is something that I think is important to think about. Food for thought. Feed your thoughts. And even this book, I feel like it kind of addresses a lot of the issues. I don't know, I probably shouldn't talk on this because I would need to reread the book in order to fully assess how I feel about it all. But with that being said, some of the things that I wasn't personally a fan of, the constant mention of how muscular Boy Wonder was, like, we get it. Boy Wonder is swole. Literally though, every time he was mentioned, it was like, his muscles are bulging, oh my gosh. There are also definitely things that don't fully add up in this book, like how Ever is supposedly poor and yet she's flinging money left and right. There's also quite a bit of convenience with the plot at times, and the things that happened at the end didn't really seem that necessary. Like, a really big thing happens at the end to kind of move the plot forward, and I felt like it just could have been executed in such a different way because it was just like over the top in the drama department. Let's bring it down a few notches, you know? It's what I like to call the explosive scene that happens in a lot of YA contemporaries, and I mean a lot. Overall though, I personally loved this book. Like, we vibed. I can't give it a perfect rating necessarily, but it's high up there on my list. The book is marked as #1 in a series on Goodreads, so I am now highly anticipating the sequel. Give it to us. I need it. I want to eat it with my eyeballs. Those are all my thoughts on Loveboat Taipai. Let me know down below in the comments if you have read this book and what your thoughts are on it, or if you haven't read this book, then let me know if you're gonna read it. That's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time, whenever that is. I still don't have an outro, so see you later, see you later, see you later. Bye!